When I retired some 15 years ago, I had this little idea that there might be a value in starting a dating agency for Catholics. So we floated this little idea by just putting a couple of adverts in Catholic papers, and the phone rang off the wall. You know? I was getting comments like, you know, thank God somebody's doing something about this. You know, the bishops are blooming useless and that sort of thing. What I'd envisaged would be a couple of hours work on a Friday night for, you know, just sort of voluntary work for the church turned into a full-time job for myself and my wife. Now it's gone all internet, it's also gone international. We have members, I think the last count for something like 42 countries. It's a very pleasant way of earning a few bob, as it were, because people, when they do pair off, are so grateful, you know. We've had invites from 1 or 2 people to their wedding, which has been nice. People send us pictures of their first baby and that sort of thing. My estimate would be that we've been responsible for something like 400 plus weddings, which of course makes me responsible for an awful lot of kiddies out there. When I had a guy who I had complaints from the women he was meeting that he was trying to grope them on the first date, so he obviously was clumsy, I think probably more than ill-intentioned, so we removed him because he was causing ill will, you know. And he was quite an elderly man too. I mean, he was sort of coming up to 70, I think, so he'd obviously forgotten how to conduct himself over the course of the years. So. The Western mainstream media comes up with dogmas which they then expect everybody to worship at, and then if you don't all change step, you start getting insulted and accused of having. And nowadays, you know, I think the internet is a blessing in many ways. You can go on there and research these things and find different opinions and eventually come to some sort of conclusion as where the truth might lie, you know? When Catholics get together, that they avoid which they see as a slightly bizarre. In fact, I think in some ways, we are more liberal because we're quite happy that somebody should believe that, but what we're not happy about is that they should accuse us of a mental illness because we don't, you know? I mean, if somebody actually believes that going out on a Friday night looking for opportunities for same-sex anal copulating with numerous partners and complete strangers is okay, it's a bizarre view, but I defend their right to that view. What I object to is what people nowadays who call themselves liberal bully everybody else into silence by sticking these invented labels on them, you know. Any mud is good enough to sling at a Catholic or Catholicism, but everybody else gets a free ride, as it were.
Click the videos to watch more Londoners and don't forget to subscribe.